Hey, I'm MicroMacro from Board Game Co, and today we are doing an Origins 2025 preview. That just kind of means that I'm going to go ahead and talk about 15 games that I think you should check out at Origins 2025, or more specifically like 5 or 6 that I want to check out, and then like 10 or so that I recommend you check out, and I'll probably be trying to stop by as well because many of these I only had a chance to cover while in prototype form. That said, Origins was my first board game convention ever, and it does have a special place in my heart, both because of that and also because it's the closest one to me. It's in Columbus, Ohio, which means it's basically 2.5, 3 hours, I think closer to 3 hours away from me, a very short, accessible drive. If you are going to Origins and you see me there, by all means, stop me, say hi, whatever it is you want to do. Origins is one of those that I actually have a little bit more time. I find Gen Con is one that in particular, I always want to say hi as much as possible, and if you do see me, feel free to stop me at Gen Con too, but that's one where I tend to be rushing from meeting to meeting, versus Origins is a little bit more laid back. I'm there to have fun. I work too, work is important, but I am very much there to have fun, and this is a convention that if you haven't made it your way to, I do find it has a nice cozy feel to it, and this year they're doing their 20th anniversary, or something like that. I think it's the 20th anniversary. They're doing something special this year, making it a slightly better year to go than any other year. Like, it won't be too overwhelmingly busy, probably not. Again, it's usually a manageable size. Anyways, Origins 2025, these are 15 games. As usual, I went through the BGG preview page over here, the Origins preview page on BGG, to go ahead and filter from the games there. It is another lighter list. If you saw my UK Games Expo preview that I just recently did, by the way, speaking of which, I think I'm currently at UK Games Expo when you're watching this video, if this video went up when I think it is going up. So I'm currently at UK Games Expo, so if you see me there also, feel free to say hi. Although also, while you're watching this video, if you're at UK Games Expo. Meaning, why are you watching it today if you're at UK Games Expo? Watch it tomorrow, which I guess for you is today. You know what I mean. Anyways, the point is I just did a UK Games Expo preview as well, going through 15 games there. I will say I will not be highlighting some of the games that were on that. I won't be covering here because otherwise it's too much overlap. So things like SETI, Space Agencies, for example, Lost in Arnak, there are certain games that I covered already in the last video that, yes, I am excited for them at Origins as well, but I won't be talking about them because I just talked about them in the UK Games Expo video. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into these. Again, 15 games, some I know more about, some I know less about. Let's start off with Parks and Potions. Parks and Potions, I chose the Kickstarter page because the BGG page didn't really have a lot of cool pictures. This one is lower down on my list personally. I have not played this one. Honestly, it's the art that's pulling me in. I think it generally does a good job of feeling very vibrant, pulling people in. You're going to be rolling dice, collecting ingredients, crafting potions. It looks very straightforward. I do worry that it might be a little light for me, but one of the nice things about conventions is it gives me the opportunity to go ahead and check this one out and see more about it without committing to purchasing it. I get to see it. I get to see the game and decide if I'm interested in it based on what I see there. That's going to be Parks and Potions. Looks delightful. Might be a little bit on the light side for me, but also check it out, especially if you want something lighter for you. We have Pillars of Hercules. Pillars of Hercules from Hyperion Games. This one is going to be a bag building, area movement, area control game. Looks overall like a 7.8 from a decent amount of ratings, 94 ratings. That's a decent enough starting point over there. Definitely enough to pull me in. The theme in general, I like more of that medieval, like, you know, kind of, I don't know, is this called medieval? Greece, Greek, ancient Greek, I don't know what theme this is. That more historical, like, I don't know, Cyclades, the Odyssey, Troy, all that kind of stuff. I love that age, that era. I've said this in other videos, but definitely check out Epic the Musical if you haven't already. It's a whole song thing. Check it out on YouTube. It's amazing. That's neither here nor there. Pillars of Hercules. Definitely one that I don't know a lot about, but I am interested in finding out more. We have Raising Chicago. This one, honestly, gameplay-wise, no idea if it's for me. It's coming to you from Spillworks. They often do these heavier, meatier games that may or may not work for me, but what does work for me is the theme and the implementation of the theme. Raising Chicago is a callback to the theme of where they effectively tried to raise the city of Chicago because they were having water drainage issues, and so they were trying to install new sewer systems, but they kind of, without getting too much into it, the city was at a lower level than sea level, and so they have to either put the sewer above ground or alternatively raise the city so that they can have, you know, the buildings on top of the sewer. Actual historical event that led to death of a lot of people. Not the Raising Chicago part, but rather there were like cholera outbreaks. There were a whole bunch of outbreaks and diseases because of like constant standing water. Fascinating historical aspect, and they are implementing this in a board game. A board game that will also have you literally raising Chicago. You see these little tokens that go under the buildings as you raise them up. I love the idea of this. No idea. Again, Spillworks has me a little bit hesitant, and their games often are fantastic, but usually they're a little drier than what I'm personally looking for. But this one definitely looks intriguing, and the theme has me pulled in. I think the last time I saw a theme, this I guess, similar was when they had Squaring Circleville. You know Squaring Circleville, the game, or is it? I think that's what it's called. But Squaring Circleville is a game that mimics the aspect of squaring a circular city in board game form. Love the idea. Raising Chicago, coming to you from Spillworks, and I think Capstone is picking it up, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have Hercules and the 12 Labors. This is not the first, this is not the second, well, this is the second, but this is not the last. This is not the first, and this is not the last of our Greek-themed games. Hercules and the 12 Labors from Envy-Born Games. Envy-Born Games, who previously did, oh my gosh, what's the game that I really like from them? No, something, oh my gosh, why can't I? The little land game, Confusing Lands. I was about to pull it up and I remembered. Confusing Lands, which I love from Envy-Born Games. This is a solo puzzle that I am intrigued by. There was a back here campaign for it. I'm interested. I have not played it. I want to see if this is one for me. I've enjoyed Sirens from them, another Greek-style, Greek-themed game. But Hercules and the 12 Labors, a solo-friendly game from Envy-Born Games, who already have my attention thanks to things like Sirens and thanks to things like Confusing Lands in particular. Then we have Diatoms. Diatoms is one that I still haven't played. I've seen it a few times. Definitely interested in this one. This one very much seems to be a point scoring optimization game, but with a very different theme than what you typically see. Beautiful pieces, a very kaleidoscope kind of approach to it, with a science-based aspect as to why it is the way it is, and variable scoring that constantly keeps you on your toes as you try to optimize different scoring conditions. I've seen it at a few conventions. I've never had a chance to actually play it yet. Don't know if I'm actually going to play this one here. We are starting to drift into the games that I'm recommending based off of seeing them, but nonetheless, Diatoms is one I'm still interested in, even though I haven't yet played it. Then we have Architects of Amytis, which has a 6.9 rating, which I'm kind of surprised by, but I don't know. I've only played this one on Board Game Arena, but I have played it on Board Game Arena. I think it's fantastic on Board Game Arena. This is a great game that, well, fantastic might be a bit too much. I think it's very, very good on Board Game Arena. I've had a chance to play this several times online. Really enjoyed the approach. Lots of quick-paced scoring optimization as you try to gather the right tiles, placing them into your 3x3 grid, trying to accomplish various scoring patterns, but also each tile you place has a different scoring ability on it. So again, one of those games where you're just trying to juggle multiple things. Even the way you place your workers onto the grid to grab the tiles, whole lots of things you're trying to juggle and optimize in this game. I have not played it in person, so I don't know how different it is in person. I did express concerns that the scoring might be a little bit tedious to track versus on Board Game Arena. It's very easy, but one that I definitely enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to seeing this one in person and seeing it, well, again, I don't know, it feels like a small game, but I don't actually know if it is a small game. It might be like a big box. I don't know the size of this box. I've only played it on BGA, so all I know is I like the gameplay, and that's all I know so far. Then we have Rebel Princess Deluxe Edition Happily Never After. This is really not a lot of new content for Rebel Princess, but I do like Rebel Princess, so I'm still interested in it. This gives you 2 more princesses, as well as 6 more scoring conditions for Rebel Princess. If you haven't checked out Rebel Princess, definitely recommend that you do so. It is a great trick-taking game, based on hearts, if I recall correctly, but it effectively gives you variable scoring conditions every single round, as you try to make sure you're a person who does not end up with all the various princes, or the 8 frog, the frog, you don't want the frog prince either, but giving you different little scoring, not necessarily scoring, different gameplay adjustments every single time you play. So every time you play around, there's something new going on, not to mention your princesses and their asymmetric abilities. And this gives you 2 new princesses and 2 new scoring adjustments, or 2 new rules adjustments to the game, adding further variability to an excellent trick-taking game. Then there's MicroMacro Kids Crazy City Park. I like MicroMacro a lot. I've played through them with my kids, although MicroMacro is also not really kid-friendly. I've played them through with my kids, but there's definitely some adult content, as well as suicidal content, and who knows what. There's a content in a MicroMacro that makes it a game that is charming for kids, but not necessarily as accessible depending on your own parental guidance restrictions around what you interact with your kids with. But MicroMacro for Kids is going to be the gameplay of MicroMacro with a more kid-friendly approach, both in terms of difficulty as well as in terms of the theme of it, so making it more accessible, well, both for myself, who wants more MicroMacro content, as well as for anyone who might have more mindfulness around what age ranges are getting introduced to MicroMacro at what point, and what type of content they get to see. So a good opportunity to introduce a very kid-friendly game in theory that is now actually more kid-friendly. We have Runes. Runes from All Play is a hidden gem for me from their games, meaning hidden gem just meaning that All Play puts out a lot of different games, and some of them have me more pulled in, some of them less so, but they're always a good time. But Runes is one that wasn't really on my radar. I read the rules and still wasn't really that excited. Then I played it a few times and really liked it. It is a hand-shedding game where you're going to be modifying the cards as you go. From John D. Clear, he does love his card overlays, so you can constantly adjust them, but he's giving you a hand-shedding game where you get to spend resources every round to build up and improve your cards, and to even twice per game claim certain cards. You get to permanently claim a card as yours, meaning if somebody draws it in a future round, they have to give it to you. And those cards can often give you a lot of flexibility to be able to play a set in a way that encapsulates or escalates from another player, leading you to have more control over which cards leave your hand. Overall, very much enjoyed this one. Definitely a little chaos to it. I don't think it's the most elegant hand-shedding game, but I think it's a lot of fun and has the players just powering up as they go in ways that are very entertaining. Then we have Ministry of Lost Things. This is one I had a chance to play as the prototype. Anything Post Curious puts out is phenomenal. I just backed their, what was it called again? Oh my gosh, Pandora's Legacy? Pandora's Legacy, I think it's called. I just backed Pandora's Legacy from them. Ministry of Lost Things, though, is one of their prior crowdfunding campaigns, and they did a great job with it. It's a very charming little escape room in a box. Like most of their escape room in a box, they focus very much on the production of it. These aren't just well-done puzzles. They are well-done puzzles that really pull you in based on the components, based on the story. The quality there is top-notch. They charge a little more than your, like, you know, I don't know, your exit or unlock kind of escape room game, but they do deliver an experience that, in my opinion, is very much worth that little more, especially when you factor in, of course, the replayability of these things, the ability to gift them onto other people or sell them or whatnot, so you get more use out of these things. If I recall correctly, this one did have a reset kit. If I recall correctly, I could be mistaken about that. But either way, Ministry of Lost Things, definitely a very charming little puzzle escape room experience. Then we have Cretaceous Rails. Cretaceous Rails is great. Coming to you from Spielcraft Games, a very colorful box, but overall the gameplay gives you a route building, almost pick up and deliver, taking your people on these little trails as you try to deal with the worker placement puzzle of it. Because the worker placement puzzle of it is another aspect of it where you basically have this grid over here where you're placing down your workers on the combination of two tiles to be able to take combinations of actions to be able to most efficiently build out your grid, to gather more cards, to build up your tableau, and to ultimately score points in this one. Very, very solid game, both in terms of the way your tableau builds, the worker placement actions you're taking. I thought this was a very well done dinosaur building game. Like, I mean, there's obviously Dinosaur Island, Dinosaur World are the two behemoths in the dinosaur space, in the dinosaur board game space. Then also, what's the other one? Oh my gosh, what's the other one that also gets a lot of oh, this is gonna bother me. There's the other Dino Park game. Dino Genesis. Dino Genesis is the other one as well, but Cretaceous Rails is another one definitely worth checking out. From there we have How to Save a World. How to Save a World from Burnt Island Games. This is an excellent worker placement game with a little bit of a twist to the way the workers kind of place in certain areas and then migrate around the board, but it also has a little bit of a stock-taking element because effectively in this game what you're doing is you're trying to save the world, but the way you contribute to the way the world gets saved. There's 3 ways you can save the world in this game, and you're trying to contribute to the way that actually ends up saving the world. That's going to be these tracks over here, which results in this interesting aspect of trying to figure out what other players are going for and lean into the thing that's going to be most successful, and then trying to get points for that while trying to juggle everything else. So a little bit of like kind of stock taking, a lot of worker placement, a little bit of tableau building, and just generally all around an excellent, well-produced game from Burnt Island Games. How to Save a World, just now starting to deliver, but if you haven't gotten a copy, you can check it out at Origins. Then we have Core Discovery. Core Discovery, a game set in the world of Manifest Destiny from Off the Page Games. This was excellent. I still think Mind Management is going to be my favorite game from Off the Page Games, but this is definitely my second favorite, at least as of right now, from their catalog. Granted, they have like 3 games, so I don't know if that's really like it's my second favorite game, but it is a good game. It's a really good game that gives you a solo or cooperative aspect of basically trying to use deduction to figure out, well, every scenario is a little different as far as what exactly you're trying to do, but whatever it is you're trying to find, you're using the deductive rules of the particular map, as well as the variableness of it to try to figure out exactly where you're going to go to get what you need done. It's hard to really explain it because it is scenario driven, but effectively to use like an example from one of the scenarios, if you're trying to find the forts, there's a rule as to how to find the forts, there's various things that will get in your way that you have to deal with along the way, and you're constantly juggling your resources trying to stay one step ahead of the game using deduction as your core focus. I enjoy a good deduction game. One of my biggest challenges with it is that I find not everyone in my group always does enjoy a good deduction game, and so I have one that I can play solo that gives me a real the fact that I can play through the solo just gives me a lot of freedom to actually play a good deduction game that I really enjoy. Like obviously things like the Escape from the Search for Planet 9, or not Search for Planet X, Search for Planet X. There's other soloable deduction games. This one might be my favorite in terms of solo deduction games. I don't know if it's my favorite deduction game, but it might be my favorite solo one. And then while you're there, also check out Grendel. Grendel from Off the Page Games. I know much less about this one. This is their upcoming campaign. Based on Grendel has executed the leaders of 23 powerful crime families, a bunch of asymmetric factions, push your luck, bag building. I like push your luck, I like bag building, I like asymmetric factions. Don't know much about the theme. Then again, I don't generally know much about the theme of his games. Off the page games is always taking a comic book adaptation and turning it into a board game. And so far, they've done that with, well, Mind Management, with Core of Discovery, with their other one that I'm going to blank on the name, and now with Grendel as well. So I don't know much about the theme of Grendel. Honestly, the theme doesn't have me pulled in just by looking at it, but I am intrigued by the gameplay, especially since they have done tremendously well on their games so far. And then lastly, check out Cyclades Legendary Edition. Cyclades is amazing, and the Legendary Edition is a good implementation of it. I already have this one. This is one that I'm just recommending you check out if you have a chance, because I think Cyclades is one of the best area control games in my collection. It has stood the test of time. My collection been here for forever. It gives you one of the best bidding systems I've seen in any game. The implementation, I mean, it's not like super unique, but the implementation of the bidding is one of the most tense implementations of bidding because of how it affects the entire state of the board, because it affects everything you can do in this massive area control game as you vie for control of the gods. I think Cyclades is phenomenal. Legendary Edition is just a very good version of it. Dice Tower, I think, just gave it a 10 out of 10, which I think is a well-earned for this game. Again, they took a great game and just made it better. So if you haven't had a chance to check out Cyclades Legendary Edition, this is definitely a good time to do so. And that is your Origins, kind of, 15 games to check out. Some of these I have not seen myself, and I will be trying to find out more about. Others I have, and I just want to tell you what cool, fun things there are that should be on your radar at Origins 2025. Hopefully, I will have day one coverage of the show as well. I tried to do that. Not every show can I, but Origins is when I usually manage to get to it. So we'll see if that happens this year or not. But if not, this should hopefully start you off with things to check out, whether you're going or not. These might just be things that are interesting to you, even if you aren't going to Origins, or maybe if you're going to Gen Con or PAX Unplugged. Many of these things will be available at future shows and or your local, friendly retailer, online retailer, wherever it is you buy your games. In any case, then, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.